Today we are going to go over 3 things that I think you should check out when you demo autonomous tractors from John Deere. The first should be AutoPath by Boundaries. What is AutoPath by Boundaries? AutoPath by Boundaries is going to be in definition guidance lines built off of the shape of your field. So when you go to your plant farm field, you drive a boundary, which this needs to have a driven, autonomous ready SFRTK or RTK boundary. That will be exported to Op Center. You will make in Op Center or on the screen here a guidance line based off of 3 things from the shape of that boundary. That is going to be either a heading that you tell it, so 90-degree heading, 280-degree heading, anything up to from 0 to 360, you're going to tell it that heading and it will make that guidance line off of that. Or you can make a guidance line off the shape of your field from one of your boundaries. So if you have let's say you have a square field in your west boundary, you like how straight that is north to south, you can click that side of that field and that will make a guidance line off how straight that is. The third would be setting a guidance line you've already had. So if you've had your planting east-west guidance line that you've been using for several years, and that's what you want to have this tractor doing, you would tell it off that. So guidance lines, shape of the field, or a heading. And then once you do that, you're going to make a work plan, which is telling it the field you want to be at, the guidance you want it to have, which this would be that AutoPath by Boundaries, and then you would tell it the tractor you want it to go to. So then you'd send that and export that to that either over the air or you can put it on a flash drive and send that onto the tractor. So now your tractor has its guidance lines and can be autonomous. The second thing I want you to try on an autonomous demo is autonomous tillage, but exit cab mode. So what that means is you're going to get the tractor into the field, make sure everything's unfolded, everything's turned on, and you're going to make sure your auto track turn automation is on the correct mode, your speed and turn settings are where you want them to be, your depth settings are where you want them to be, and then lastly, your section control is all turned on. So you're gonna go to your autonomous app, hit that button, turn on, and once you turn on, it's gonna do a system check, make sure the computer, the tillage tool, the tractor, everything's happy, and then it'll say, hey, I see somebody's in my seat. Once you've hit that exit cab mode button, and once you hit that exit cab mode button, it's gone through all of its checks, you stand up out of the seat, it'll give you a green light, you'll get out of the cab, close the door, walk 50 feet away from the tractor and get out your phone. You'll go to Op Center Mobile, click on the tractor and swipe to get the tractor to turn on. The hazards will flash, the horn will be honking, and then it will take off and do autonomous tillage with you out of the cab. Something I highly suggest you take a shot at seeing what that is like. It's very cool once you set her free in the boundary that you have made. Now, the third thing I want you to check out when it comes to autonomous demos is something that is only with autonomous tillage right now, and that is remote display control, that you can actually remote display the screens in the tractor with from being outside the cab. So right now we have what is called remote display access, so you can see the screen, but you can't change anything on the screen itself. So if you remote display control, you can actually turn everything on into the tractor. Once it's in autonomous mode, you can turn on the calculator, you can turn on all your auto track settings, see how they're doing, check all 16 cameras on the tractor, and then go from there. I suggest an iPad if you're going to do remote display controlling from a touchscreen. From a computer, you can also do it from a computer pretty easily. So you just got to go in remote display control once you've clicked on your tractor, of course, and it will say, do you want a remote display access, you want a remote display control, and you check mark it, hit OK, hit a button, and there's your screen. It'll have a yellow frame around it instead of a blue frame, and that way you're able to control both screens. Pretty cool function. So those are the 3 things I think you should check out in an autonomous tillage demo. Reach out to your local dealership and try it out. Thank you and have a good day.